channel. It is my life dream to get the channel to 1,000 subscribers, so your subscription can make all the difference in the world in fulfilling what I was meant to do here on this earth, and that is rant on the internet about gardening. Now, I am not a gardening expert. I'm simply an enthusiast who's looking to discover more about plants through the resources of the internet and the community that I hope to build here on the Great Gardening Channel. So once again, please subscribe to my channel, hit the like button, click the bell to receive notification on upcoming videos, and let's get into today's topic. We are going to discuss the top 10 most ugly plants on the entire earth. Now, this article is really pretty shocking, brought to you by Garden Building Direct. It's a British publication. And when I first clicked into it, I was prepared to see some genuine monstrosities. I don't know how many of you are foragers out there, but there are some pretty horrific mushrooms that you can come across in the forest. But when it boils down to the top 10 most ugly plants and trees, I was shocked, but in a very, very positive way. So, without further ado, let's have a look at number 1, the corpse flower. This is a plant that I'm sure many of you have seen in either documentaries or research online. Now, first, I want you to admire its size. This thing is huge. I kind of think that it's almost disrespectful to such an unusual and special plant to consider it one of the most ugly in the world. In my opinion, it looks quite beautiful. The beautiful velvet innards and the bright yellow of the outside of the leaf, it just draws me in. But there's a reason that it ended up on this list, and I think that the reason is not much to do with aesthetics. If we come down and read a little bit about the plant, the reason that it's on the list is because it emits a putrid, horrific, disgusting, vomit-inducing odor. You wouldn't be able to stand next to this thing for more than 5 seconds without gagging, and I'm not exaggerating. All the Sansevieria plants in the world would not filter out the putrid odor that this thing puts out. So that's really the reason that it's on the list. And, you know, in today's era of political correctness, I can't help but admire the gesture, because we're not judging the flower by its looks. Normally they say that, you know, you judge a person by what's on the inside, not on the outside. This is like the reverse sentiment of that, because it's like you would have a beautiful person with a rotten personality, then, you know, they can also end up on the list of the most ugly people on earth. And I think that that's really what this is about. So I salute the author for making that distinction. I'm not a fan of vegetation that stinks up the house or the greenhouse or the forest or anything like that. But I think we can all admit it's pretty unique and beautiful. It looks like a huge, very erect banana. No, that's my take anyways. All right, now let's get to number 2. Now this is interesting. Some of these do not actually appear in photographs on the article. So I took the liberty of Google searching this, and I was concerned about what might pop up if I Google search Stinky Squid. So I went ahead and I did this before we started the broadcast here. And I was also kind of surprised. This is a fungus that you can find on the ground of the forest. And I'm a forager. I like picking mushrooms. I like chantels. I like, you know, I like all mushrooms generally. But this one, I have to admit, it looks alien-like. It does look like, you know, there was a squid left in the middle of the forest, and that might be off-putting to people. I'd be curious to hear what your opinion is on this piece of fungus. I think that it's interesting. I don't know if I'd consider it to be ugly. I think it's more unique and special. Let's see, maybe the author did more of their, you know, insightfulness and put it on this list for a reason other than its cosmetics. So this is often found on the edge of the woods, and its body resembles that of a puffball, but later splits into several arms resembling a squid. So There's a catch. Once again, the Stinky Squid, and I probably should have guessed that by the name, stinks. It smells nasty. So this is the second item on this list that is put here not because it's cosmetically ugly, but just simply because it stinks. So that's pretty interesting. Okay, vegetable sheep. That sounds pretty nice. It's a plant that occurs in New Zealand. And well, to be honest with you, it looks kind of like an alien blob. It's unusual. I'll give it that. But granted, it also grows in some very unusual places. Look at that in the mountainous regions where I think you won't get much more than moss. I don't know. I don't see anything wrong with vegetable sheep. Let's see. Does it smell bad? Why do we not like it? Why is it on this list here? So it's named because of the way that it looks from a distance. So people see this vegetation and they presume it to be sheep up in the southern Alps of New Zealand. That's pretty interesting, actually. It's a gray-white mound covered in a small, very woolly leaves, and they're packed tightly together, presenting the appearance of a sheep, as I said before. The tiny leaves are covered in hairs with flowers beneath them, and they can spread up to 5 feet. All right, well, this is just my personal opinion. Vegetable sheep, if we have one more look at it, it's gorgeous. It grows in harsh conditions in the New Zealand Alps. So why is it on the list of the world's most ugly plants? That beats me. But I don't know. Maybe you guys think it's different. Write in the comment section below if you think vegetable sheep deserves to be on the world's most ugly plants list. Strange. All right, moving on. Number 4. This plant is found in Southwest Africa, and it is considered to be a living fossil. Oh, that's very interesting. Initially, Treetumbo, okay, I guess it's pronounced Treetumbo, grows 2 leaves, one with a thick trunk, and as the plant continues to grow, the leaves split. So what we're dealing with here is an African plant that is a living fossil, which is miraculous, unusual, interesting. I didn't know that fossils could live, to be honest with you. Let's have a look. Well, I guess it's ugly in the sense that it looks like some, sea washed up. Looks like it could stink, but apparently it doesn't stink. Seems to grow in desertous environments, so it is a very resourceful and strong plant. I guess, you know what? The more I look at this, zoom in a little bit there. Yeah, it looks like a pile of garbage or something. All right. I respect the plant for its ability to live in harsh African conditions. But if we're being superficial here and just judging it based on its appearance, right? We compare a beautiful tulip to Treetumbo. What we're looking at the moment, I'm going to go ahead and say yes. This thing is pretty freaking ugly. So that's the first one on the list that I think really meets the criteria of being an ugly plant, because the first 2 were just stinky, simply, but they looked quite lovely. The New Zealand sheep vegetable was okay by me. I didn't have any problem. I can't imagine why that's on this list. But Treetumbo, well, that's pretty gross. And I wouldn't want that growing in my garden. I don't know about you guys. So, Birthw. Wart. Yeah, sorry. Not the best reader here. All right, well, again, this looks like some deep sea creature that found itself on a tree. I wonder if there's any connection there. And they're also referred to as pipe vines. And yeah, this is another instance of a plant that smells bad as opposed to looking ugly. Quite frankly, I think it looks fine. It looks like it looks like a jellyfish was hung out in the tree and just left there to dry out or something. And I guess that would probably stink if you did that. So I don't have any problem with it cosmetically, but if something can be ugly because of the way it smells, then I guess it's ugly. Elephant trunk. Okay, so this is found in the North Cape of Nebbia, and the plant consists of a thick trunk that's densely covered in spines, making it one of the world's ugliest plants. All right, well, let's check it out. I Google searched it, and well, it looks like a cactus, actually. It's pretty interesting how it grows. Something between a snake and a cactus. I think that it's unique. I think it looks very hardy, very tough, and you probably wouldn't want to bear hug one of these. I could imagine that you'd regret that. Let's see if we can observe the spikes a little bit closer, maybe in one of these pictures. Yeah, have a look at that. It is very spiky, for sure. That reminds me of the first time my wife saw the cacti in Arizona, and some of them look like you could actually pet them and touch them, as she did, and she ended up with a handful of spikes. So hopefully no one made the same naive decision with this plant. I don't think it's so bad. I don't think it deserves to be on a list of ugly vegetation. All right. The thorn of cross. It is a slow-growing shrub that is originally from South Africa. It has gray thorns, oval leaves, and it drops as it ages. So, yeah, it just kind of looks like a deluxe thorn bush, basically. Now, I don't know, maybe there are some elitist gardeners out there that could help explain to a simpleton like myself what is ugly about this plant, because I'm just not seeing it. Maybe it's photographed well, maybe it looks, maybe it has a nice Instagram filter on it, or maybe the lighting is just right, and that's why I'm not seeing the ugliness, but it looks lovely, actually. Yeah, you wouldn't want to touch it, but some things are for looking, not for touching. Okay, the sea onion. So this is another African plant, and its branches appear to make it look like an elongated asparagus with greenish flowers. I'm not sure if what I pulled up here is the correct specimen. This is what I found for sea onion. There's some other ones. Looks like, yeah, well, it looks like an onion. Looks like I wouldn't want to handle it because God only knows if this thing's got stingers, or what would happen to you if you were touching something like that. But at the same time, it's a piece of the sea, and I guess that this is kind of ugly. Yeah, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's not the nicest looking, but it doesn't shock me either. Okay, and then number 9, monkey cups. And I believe that this is a carnivorous plant. So I think that this actually eats other insects, little birds fall into it. That does look a little bit ugly. It looks like an organ was removed from a human being and propped up on a plant. That's what it reminds me of. So this is a tropical pitcher plant, as it's also known. There's more than 120 species that are in a related family. The monkey cups are a vine forming that can be found in natural habitats in the tropical regions of Asia, mainly the Philippines, Malaysia, Thailand, Indonesia, Singapore, and New Guinea. The plant grows as it climbs the vines, and let's see, does it eat? Yes. So the pitcher attracts insects, and I believe I saw somewhere that small birds can be digested by this as well. So I'm so fascinated by it that I'm not going to criticize it, but it does look a little bit ugly with this shaft here and the little hairs that are growing off. It's peculiar. That's true. Okay, and then the bastard cobs. That one sounds bad. A slow-growing ornamental plant that can reach 6 feet in height. It's also known as it also has large, shiny leaves that tend to fall off during the winter time, just like any other plant, I suppose. Yeah, looks great to me. It looks like a desert plant. And this I would not mind having in my garden. This is pretty unique. This is pretty cool. It looks like a stone plant or something, right? If you look at this particular picture here. Oh, sorry guys, can't pull that up. Yeah, interesting. So just to kind of sum up here, of the 10 plants that we went through, I think the only ones that are even a little bit ugly would be the sea onion, right? That didn't look that great. And then that African plant that was like a pile of goo, but the rest were simply put on here because they have foul smelling odors. I don't know how I feel about that. Write me in the comment section below. Do you know of any plants that are actually uglier than that? Maybe your neighbor's grass or untrimmed bushes, for example. Uh, Let me know, guys. Please do subscribe to the channel. I'm begging you. I want to make lots of great content and form a community here. And stay tuned for the next